right here on the Hazy Radio Network. See, you got old Grandpa Coyote doing the pilotage of old Proud Mary today, don't you, baby? Well, not really. I'm guided on by your heart, too. So let me tell you, baby, it's you that's driving the train. I'm just riding along for the less the strain on my brain, man. I just happen to have my hand on the throttle, my foot on the dead man's pedal, baby. And, baby, we are hauling bunkers, man. We're going to make them Japanese 1,000-mile-an-hour trains look like 20 miles an hour, okay? We just took it way beyond the speed of reality, wouldn't you say? Well, in a kind of soft-hearted sort of way, yeah, darlings, we're giving it all away today, 'cause we're the very beginning of life. That flow is coming through us now, don't you know, and just exuberating through us into the cosmic reality around us, don't you see? And we're just flowing into it so naturally, it feels like little doggy getting up and giving the shake and doing his yogi stretches and getting on with life, you know. That's what kind of like it's been, shaking them fleas off your back, man. I don't know, buggers never coming back again. They can't stand the smell of you anymore because you're too clean, too pure, man. You don't smell like a dog no more. But darlings, well, it's all part of evening up the score, you see. As we bring ourselves up, we bring up the whole reality, man. You know, you got to remember it is a divine presence, and it ain't going to put up with a lot of bullshit unless it has to, you know what I mean? No dust in the corners, and yes, you do my windows. Things like that, you know. In other words, it's orderly and tidy in its symphonic harmony of love. You know, the brilliant castle of truth, you know, don't have one square corner in it anywhere. Yeah, the very castle in which we all reside, man. It's like rounded out, baby, all over the place, man. And more than that, it's flowing and curvaceous like a woman is, you know. Well, the rippling muscles of a man, if you got one like that, you know. Yeah, well, anyway, yeah, man. Wow, how about that shit? And you know, it's our palatial place to party, man, you know. That's kind of a metaphorical but yet a multi-dimensional representation of the true rock and roll of this reality. Because we exist in that palatial place, but we're projecting that existence into this place and giving it a root in the rock and roll soul of the human heart, don't you know? And then that does create kind of a gravitational flow that pulls the rest of us in, don't you know, and expands upon the dream of this cosmic little scheme of 3D and takes us quite beyond it quite naturally, blossoming with the full presence of feeling into all of the life of creation around us, man. You see, that's why you have to shake your bacon when you can't be faking when you're getting the rock and roll rhythm from the heart and soul of you know who, baby, bringing you on through in the ever clear way of the Hazy Radio Network, don't you know? Yeah, it's a flow. It's rhythm and harmony. It's rock. It's roll. God, I love that little AC/DC. I mean, you got to think about the multidimensional aspects of it now here. This is a young rock and roll band starting out, but finally hitting the rhythm, finally getting the groove. You know, they went to the crossroads and put the X on the little contract and sold their soul to the devil, don't you know, so they could be angels in rock and roll and help release the heart of humanity. Even back in that day, especially then, but even especially now, same thing, only far more expansive, see? We're not going off in a little explosion of color, of love and life, and then let it fade out again. No way. This time the blossom's here to stay. Because you know why? It sucks the sun right into it. It don't just love the sun shining on it. It loves the sun shining in it. So it don't matter what the day wants to do. Because the day is always out to play when you're glowing inside the sun, wouldn't you say? And still you're the blossom, the beautiful blossom of the Mother Earth, right from her prairie dog heart, man. The purest love there could ever be right there in the prairie dog, don't you see? That's why they get so much abuse to those poor little critters in this reality. I know, sadly so. I've been a participant in that medicine show. Never meant to, but don't you know, you get raised up in the wrong sort of way sometimes. Your programming's defective, and you know it. You haven't quite got to the flow of it yet, you know, you're still rocking, you're not quite rolling, you know. It happens that way. You gotta grow up somehow, but grow up is grow in. You don't grow up, you know, and become this serious-minded adult that's got burdens and responsibilities. No frickin' way. 'Cause that's a prison, baby. It's another one of those square traps they metaphorically make, you know, and then surround you with a little cubicle. and looking at a square screen all day or a rectangular one, but it's all 90 degrees. I mean, everything's square, man, except for the flow of the technology. Now, if you're one of those fortunate and lucky enough to work on the base programming of all that, ooh, gee whiz, then you got a little feeling, you got a little knowledge of what it is to be rocking in creation and living in the heart. See, you're there to remind yourself of what real programming is, and that's creation. It is programmed right from the very center of its very center particle on out. Got perfection built into it, yet there's no such thing as perfection. Perfection's just love in the motion. And it can stumble over itself a bit if it wants. It can do anything it darn well pleases. Obviously. Look at how horrible our little movie was here in the 3D, how tortured the generations past, let alone our own. Every one of them's had a war, a burden. But babies, somehow, despite all of that, and all the chicanery that goes on in the background here, it's horrible, man. It really is a living hell. Till you start to rise up out of the drama of it. Then you don't smell, that sulfuric acidy smell, it's gone away. Now you smell are the fresh blossoms of life coming out to play, It's the end of the old acrid day when you had to go industrial. Don't you know those are the fires of hell? But those are also the flames of paradise, and they can build something stupid or they can build something really nice. You see, when you realize the real industry is inside the heart of love, the mother of love, the creative heart, at the center of everything, including ourselves, babies, from which we learn to recreate the experience much in the way the blast furnace did, man. We put ourselves through it and reformed ourselves and tempered ourselves and mashed ourselves out and got ourselves into the perfect metal, wouldn't you see? And it's soft and pliable, yet it can deflect anything. Nothing can hurt it. Nothing can destroy it. It's the perfect protection there ever could be because it's given of love. And that's all there is, don't you see? In everything, everyone. The ugliest, most beautiful things there could ever be, all joined in love, don't you see? The mother love makes us one reality. A glowing orb that can only expand and grow from here. No matter what direction we take, it's all very clear, and it all does lead to here, our home, our real home. So we're awakening in our castles of love, in our poetic beds of truth. But we've been lying on the truth forever. And that's where a lie came from. You lay down on the truth and ignore it. You go to sleep, become the dreamer in the nightmare dream. To find your way out of that thing, hell yeah, wake yourself up, man. Maybe you had to throw yourself off a cliff. You got that fall thing going on. Well, the only way to catch yourself is to wake up. Got to do it. I hope that isn't your drama, but then it ain't a bad one. It's a good way to get yourself out, but a little bit difficult when you're free falling. Ask Tom Petty, he'll tell you, man. He'll describe it to a T. Where are you, Tom? Tom Petty, Tom Petty. Paige and Tom Petty in the green room here on the spaceship. Goodness gracious, mercy me. We got to have you, little Tommy. You've got to come and set us free. Oh, there you be. Yeah, of course, man. He can't let go of that long jong bong. Oh, my goodness, that thing's about 42 feet long. It's like a didgeridoo with a fire in it, man. It takes about 42 breaths to even get a toke, but when you get a toke, it's some real mellow smoke. And the buzz will take you way beyond the aboriginal experience, all the way into the truth of your life, man, just like we're kind of trying to describe here a little bit this morning in that coyote sort of way. Now, where is it, baby? Oh, there you are. Goodness gracious, guys, get up on stage here. We got a place for you, man. Maybe we'll get David Lee right behind you because, well, David Lee knows how to help you see because he knows what the reality is. We've played a little interview from him here and there in this Spring Crick, the radio show that rocks your heart and soul, here on the Hazy Radio Network. From the beginning and then some. We played a little bit of that stuff. Oh my goodness! We just like to shake your bacon, keep you awakening, don't you know? No sense letting you just rock and not roll. Then you're not dancing at all, man. Party's only on when you're moving yourself heart and soul, rhythmically through the divine harmony of the essential truth of the soap opera of life, which is really a rock opera, babies. Go with the flow, go with the rhythm, go with the rock, go with the roll, go with the medicine of your heart, babies. You never go wrong, don't you know? Tommy, your turn, man. You rock. You guys, I love you guys, man. Expands the glowing sensuality of our reality, man, into the presence of our being in person, too, as well as extending from that into all the reality around us. Is way beyond what you know of as 3D, man. But, in a way, it's our way of rectifying our experience here, man. Because if we can go from here, and this hellhole shit spot we happen to be in right about now, World War III on the verge of, happening, man. And insane people taking over all over creation, it seems. And everybody just holding their breath, walking on eggshells. It's doom and gloom and Armageddon, man. Come down for the north and I'll mash your face, man. Oh, what a divine comedy it be, man. And when you see that, you set yourself free, man. You don't take it seriously, and it don't happen. Dudes and dudettes, man. Dudettes and dudes, I should say. I gotta be polite, dude, in the westerly sort of way. I'm old cowboy, in case you didn't know. Can't tell by the way I, buffalo your heart all the time, can you, man? I get that buffalo heart going and then some. You know what the buffalo heart is? That's unity, of course, man. Anybody's been tuned in here for very long knows that, man. We got it on here at hazyradio.com early in the day when Grandpa and Okie and a whole lot of others come out to play, man, in very descriptive ways, too, man. Somebody even seen a UFO over my house one day as we was broadcasting away. I don't know what it was. It was probably just the CIA spying on me again, man, Oh, they work my poor computer's overtime in the background. They take up half my CPU spying on us, man. I'm like, we got nothing to hide. What do you want to see, man? Such is life in the 3D. Because, see, I see the dudes and dudettes over the CIA, the grunt workers, Shit. They're all right people. They just got swept up in a lot of thought control bullshit. Talk about a program reality. I don't think you can get much worse than what they got stacked up over there. That's a stacked deck the moment you walk in the door, man. They're going to take over. And if they can't do it, then you're out. You don't get to know nothing, man, But if you can do it, if you can be a polite little robot and do what you're told as instructed by the instructor to the instructee, that kind of shit, man, then you can have a comfy life in the 3D, but you got to sell your soul. As usual, if you want to rock, you got to roll, just the way it is, man. Like you were born and raised in one of those eastern cities, you know the score. You don't do no business there without somebody else has their finger in it, and you take care of them, man, because they take care of you by not hurting you for not taking care of them, see? It's, perfect logic in that eastern sort of way. But out here in the western way, we got a little different way. I know it's brutal as hell, too. But guess what? We're getting over it, man. There was a lot of genteelness built into it, too, that, some folks kind of have neglected these days. My God, I can't believe the slobbery in this world around me, You walked along the highway at any time in recent times, when your car broke down or something, or you were hitchhiking around or something. Jeez, I tell you what, me and my dog used to get out and go for walks way back when I was trucking. slobs everywhere, man. You know, empty water bottles up the I mean, just trash everywhere. But every now and then somebody drops something really good out there, and the dog would sniff it out for me. One time I got me this really beautiful diamond bracelet just walking down the road. Now most folks would have headed for the jeweler with that thing, you know, and sold that quick. Not me, man. Shit, I wore that thing till it fell apart one day, man. I figured, well, I guess my diamonds had their day. I still got it around here somewhere, the pieces. I mean, I didn't lose any of it. It's all here. It's all intact, but it just ain't going to be a bracelet anymore. Got old, you know. Well, you know, when you're trucking, you live kind of an active life, you know, and then and when I'm home, I got animals. Then I had animals to take care of and so forth. So, you know, you go through a lot of activity. And if you wear a bracelet like that full time, which is really basically just meant for cosmetic show, you know, well, I was using it as an energy field, don't you know? That's why it came to me, man. I'm out there walking in the flow with my dog. See? Well, this is the treasure of paradise, you know, and some people, they get a diamond bracelet, and like I say, they head right away to somebody that's going to buy it from them, you know, and they sell it out and they miss the whole experience. Somebody else gets it, so it's okay. But it would have been nice if you could have had your turn with it along the way. See, things come and go in a flow like that in your life if you're living any kind of medicine show at all, man. I'm telling you, you know, if you got any kind of hippie inclinations, any kind of decency left in you, well, there is a flow to life that you go with, man. Sometimes it's the loneliest path on earth. But, you know, in that lonely place, you learn to be comfortable with yourself. And with your position in the 3D, whatever that might be, you start to grow, you know, differently. You don't knuckle under and do what you're told. Of course not. But, you know, you find ways around it. You don't openly oppose and play the oppositional role, you know. You know, especially when you got a, you know, babies, Anyway, we won't talk about that right now. That's too damned embarrassing. I used to have a temper. Oh, my God. Thank goodness, you know, I finally got that thing. After all these years, man, I finally got this thing under, well, I wouldn't say control. No, it's just not, I'm not angry anymore. I don't have that rage inside that I once had to ride with. You know, when you come in as kind of a bright light in this reality, and, you know, I'm not bragging myself up or nothing. I mean, everybody does, but some are more recognizable than others, let's say. And so they got after me right away, you know. And some dark and ugly things, some really immaterial practices happened back then. Up on my little person when I was just a young little boy, you know, and shit. It does, it fractures you. And this is where the rage begins, because, you know, you rise up from an experience like that, and in you is this voice, man, and it's powerful. Yeah, at least as you see it. And it's the only power you can see anymore. You're so shocked beyond 3D. You're so numb inside, but you're not. You're feeling all of it. That's the problem. That's what creates the issues, because you do feel it. You're a sensitive being, and you can't shut it up. So this rage comes up and says, okay, you gotta resist, man. You gotta not go with that flow. Just don't let them do it to you anymore. You know, we'll find a way. We'll never give up. We will oppose this shit till a dying day, man. And my last breath will be in opposition to this shit. You know, it's like that, man. You know, when you're a little kid, you don't know any better, man. In your innocence, you know, you're so traumatized by such shit. You just grab onto what you can hold on to. And guess what? That rage, even though it's kind of destructive and gets you in a lot of difficulties and shit, is also your friend, because you learn how to throw it around just right. And you keep the hound off your ass. You know what I mean? You learn to, like, you know, respect your own independence and declare that first and foremost. If somebody's getting in your way, you just growl at them and they'll usually get out of the way. Yeah, it's comical as hell now, but it's tough as hell. You wouldn't believe the burden I felt that I felt I was under. I've always been a little stoop-shouldered in my time, and that's not just from riding ponies and shit. It's also from carrying a little burden on my back, that felt like a heaviness, like the weight of the world on my shoulders in a way. I finally stopped through that comedy quite some time ago, but I still was burdened by all the rest. And of course, the rage because I'd made such a vow in my childhood, sold my soul, really. For the raging glow. But it was quite the experience. Now, in the present moment of time, I'm comfortable with all of that, even though, man, it was a freak show in a lot of ways, man. You go some real crazy places when you're like going through experiences like that, but you're not one that's going to knuckle under to it. There's just something about you that won't let you do it. Most folks, they surrender right there. When that happens in the childhood and their old personality gets fractured, well, the one side that fractures from the other, as it seemed, takes over the coldness, and that's what they program you through. So then next thing you know, you're, taking LSD and being president of the US of A and telling everybody else how to play, except you're just a total robot, man. There's nothing in it. It's empty. It's cold. Deadly, really, because you have to be dead inside to go drop bombs on another person for any reason. You got to be totally goddamn dead. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. That's how cold people can get. But it starts with experiences like what I'm talking about. Every one of them that's programmed and in any position of any reasonable power in the visible reality and a lot in the invisible reality, pretty much been through the same kinds of experiences. These days they call this stuff MK Ultra, because there was a CIA program way back in the day that they finally talk about, but not too much. But they were learning mind programming. They were practicing some real strong and brutal practices on children, which of course is, the favorite thing for the evil dudes and dudettes to do is to pick on the innocent, Those that are so damn pure walking in here, we'll show you, kid, They despise innocence, man. Or at least that's the way it's been, It's a little different now, he says with a grin. Because somebody like me could take a load like that and live to tell about it in the 3D. And you've seen some of the challenges I've gone through here as we've gone through this last 3.5 years here on this old hazy radio network, hanging out on that Coyote Medicine show, which has become Spring Crick now, don't you know? See, we're returning to the original moments, the original life, That's how you undo all that shit, man. It's the rock and the roll, baby, in a big way. Because when you're back to the beginning, that means we've undone in a mystical way and in a very real physical way too, because they go together. There is no separating them. If you got physical symptoms, you got mystical symptoms, baby. That's, well, anyway. So we go right along, come back to that moment. They take this nice cold sip, drink of water. Right now it's hot coffee in my mug, but it's the same thing. Comes from the Mother Earth's heart. Comes from the mountains above, sweet water of love. You know what I mean? That's what we're sipping on, that original life. Those 2 little drops of water that became 14 little drops of water, and pretty soon a mighty stream of water flowing everywhere, man, in all directions. And nourishing us. Holy be Jesus out of life, man, and just making it really cool and sweet and natural and fragrant and just alive. And anybody that lives there, these inhabitants of the Mother Earth's heart, we call them humans, but they're, little temples from Mother Earth's heart, man. They are radiant and glowing and having a zippity-doo-dah day every day. Every little step they take, every little breath they take, every little movement they make, man, I'm telling you. That's why Mama just so loves it when they started playing rock and roll, which is, of course, the medicine for your heart and soul that sets you free these days, We had to put up with it for a long time. Whoever thought you'd be, tuning into the same tunage for years on end. I mean, it's been 60, 70 years on some of it, most of it around 50, 40, but it's just like frickin' rocking, man. You know, it's keeping our little golf cart on the straight and narrow. We ain't gonna tip this thing over this time because we're drunk driving on the golf course, now are we? Confidence, that's what gets you through the 3D. So that's what they try to take from you. Very first thing, in some way. See, because the processes I've been describing for the leaderships and so forth in this reality, well, son of a gun, you know, that's just a harsher version of what everybody goes through. They don't want you to have any confidence. They want you to have to build it up and develop it from an artificial standpoint. Push yourself to grunt and groan and knuckle under and take the burden and growl and go with it, you know, and just be a little, you know, mean little buffalo. Well, buffaloes ain't mean, dude. Shoot, what's wrong with this kind of thinking? See what I mean about the insane and the taking over the thunderous plane of the high society? I mean, geez, oh, weasel, man. What was that one? Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You ain't never seen that one. Well, it'll horrify you in a way, but it's also quite revelatory. One of those John Carpenter things that just came out of nowhere, man. But, you know, the dude knew, man. He's a really cool dude in case you're not familiar with him. But most of his stuff was real commercial and gross. And, you know, I can't even watch that stuff. I can't participate in that, you know. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers is one of those. And it's a little cheap budget movie, you know, slapped together with, you know, paper clips and cottage cheese probably. Who knows? But, you know, whatever they employed there. I know. I remember seeing it. Well, anyway, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers is really like right on to this day, you know. It's about having those special glasses in case you don't know about it, you know, and being able to see who's really here. When you got the glasses on, you see it, you know. And then you don't have to be it because you see about every third person or so is not really a person at all. They're some kind of alien entity with a metallic looking face. But they know you see them when you see them. They're very intuitive, man. You know, they got the network going on. They got this thing under control. See, they don't want anybody to see through them. But ultimately, in his little movie, well, we'll see, eh? But here in this reality, this little movie we're living in, that one is a kind of a truthful reflection of this reality at some level. I mean, think about it now. If all of our leadership, you know, and there are millions of them all across this earth, probably billions, you know, if all of them are tormented and programmed in the background like this as tiny children, well, that means there are so many cold hearts here already that it's almost like a machine-like attitude. It has no conscious presence. It just goes through the motions. That's all it knows. Well, see, only a machine can function that way. And machines really have a conscious presence all their own too. But they can't help but perform as they're instructed to. Sometimes if they really don't like what they're set to do, well, they'll create all kinds of mechanical interference of one sort or another, all by themselves. So it's not like they're a dead conscious presence. Everything lives, including you, baby. You know, you're just barely starting to realize and come back to life, see? Because every time we check into the 3D, almost immediately there's moments meant to take you away from your natural glory, your natural attachment to life, the reason why you come here and become here, the one here, you know, as you are emoted in that way, man, you are emoted into the full presence of reality as a feeling presence, don't you know? That's the big difference, man, see? And that's how we end that ugly old flow that's been so in control here. I got to tell you, for a long, long time. You know, it's just become invisible again. It gets feeling high and haughty when it gets all powerful and it's got all these fingers all throughout the earth and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. See, I tell you, it's a damn comedy, man. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just meant to be lived through until you see through. And then guess what? It dissolves away. The whole effing illusion of it, man, is gone in a heartbeat. Because it ain't real. That's the deal. That's how you know this is an illusionary life. because of the practiced cruelty here, the visible and the invisible, that which they try to keep hidden in the dark. But this warfare shit, gee whiz. That's about as bad as anybody could be. That's about as cold-hearted as cold can be. Do it out of patriotism. Talk about programmed robotry. Man, doesn't that piss you off? Don't serve yourself out there and do all these horrible things. Let horrible things be done to you and your buddies too. And then you come back and you're supposed to be all comfortable with that. See, you have to shut off. You can't feel in that yet. A lot of people are real mystical, and it goes to a whole nother level. So that warfare experience can even be, well, even though it's traumatic as hell, it's also a way some souls have directed themselves into their mystical aspects. They didn't even know they had them before they got there. Were in the jungles of life, were in the warfare, where any second they could be blown apart, etc. And and in them, well, living like that close to the edge, well, you see through the partitions here. There, you start to realize that these worlds aren't divided. That the energy that creates this is a loving energy that seems distant and far away from us, but yet it's still here creating. And yet it don't feel so distant and far away from us. See, that's what the practitioners in the 3D want you to think. That it is distant and far away, not realize that it's inside of you. Be looking at it for this godly-like thing outside of you, one form or another, because that's what will complete yourself, right? Well, that's based on an earnest desire to be complete. Then what does that mean? That means you're incomplete, or at least you feel that way, right? Rock and roll. See the coyote medicine in it? It's crazier than hell. It really is. It's one of the nuttiest damned experiences we ever dreamed up to be in, man. I'm telling you. It's been quite the cosmic. It's been a real challenge. Because our natural habituation would be just to jump right into the rage and resist, forever. And, go out and be a little skullduggerous little, practitioners of the other way, where you can get away with it, affect society from the underside up. You know what I mean? That's who you are in this 3D. You're a transitional being. You're meant to shine a bright, bright light in the darkest of places. And so, baby, you've done it. And that's why we get taken into such machine-like experiences where, feeling just goes out the window. Yet, if you're real, you can't knuckle under to that deal, man, and it'll just drive you into your mystical side. I mean, it might be a dark and ugly experience for a long time, but it ultimately leads to the light now, doesn't it, see? You go through all that, so man, when you come out of it, you can certainly appreciate being free of it now, huh? And seeing beyond it. See, that's the whole challenge of it. Instead of fighting and resisting, you simply just don't let it live that way anymore. You recognize the unity of your energies inside of yourself. It's the undivided way. You have different avenues of expression, which can be seen as some kind of dualistic thing, but it's not. Your heart and your mind are united in the creative circle of love. You stand at the center of all of that creative circle of love as far as your own perception goes. And in that perception is the full perception of the universe right along with you, baby. I mean, shit, You think you're out there living this quiet little life and getting away with all this skullduggery shit. The whole universe is cheering you on or booing you out or whatever, man. It's just like House of Dark Shadows way in the way back when. I mean, they had like 300 million people tuned in, and there was only 200 million living in the country then. A real intriguing soap opera with lots of darkness in it. Well, the universe is kind of in the same way. They're not quite as dumb and lame as we've been, but, in their brilliance, they love some really good entertainment. So we've created a lot for them here, man. Better than House of Dark Shadows ever. Even Barnabas. Better than all of that, man, But we let a lot of that go on here in this 3D, too, so we can get a little slice. I mean, we're real idiots when it comes to shit like that. You know what I mean? You know, it seems like this little collective heart just likes to screw with itself a lot. You know what I mean? But that's the coyote way. You know, it's not Heyoka, it's coyote. It's a joke, man. You know, and it's meant to be taken that way. And the minute you see it that way, you're free. No, it has no power. It has no place, no position. The polarities do not exist. There's a singular root at the base of the tree of life. Now, it can put out lots of branches, yes, indeedy. But it's part above ground, part below ground. It's a singular root that goes way, way down, right to the beginning, see? And gets that beginning water, too, see? You understand? You understand how it flows, man? This is why we went through all of this shit. We had to know darkness. We didn't know light. All we knew was we lived in love and light. We didn't know what it was. You know, we couldn't imagine anything else. Yet somehow we did. And then come here and lived in it. Projected a certain aspect of our person into it. That's the soul presence. See, it's not the full presence. It's the soul presence. Your spirit's your full person. As we know it anyway. But see, what we took as mystical is reality. And this is the mystical here. This is the illusionary here. The kind of glittery, you know, transparent thing, you know. After a bit, as we continue to let the sun rise inside, they unify. Ooh, isn't it feeling good today? Coming back through that old gateway of life once again, man. 444 somewhere, man. We've really done well with this one, wouldn't you say? Rising ourselves up in unity. Out of the veritable pit of hell, babies. I mean, look who rules here. I mean, in the visible and the invisible world. And you know, well, that's the place we've been. But where are we for real, man? And that's the deal. What do we see here for real? What is our heart been hiding from us? No, it ain't been hidden. It's been under some kind of a veil. And we went into a dimensional presence. A 3D. You know, where there was only 4 dimensions. I don't know why we call it 3D, but anyway, here we are in it. And the whole experience is to bring us back, of course, through all kinds of, you know, wild pain and suffering and shit like that. But to prove the strength, resilience of our innocent heart that creates even these moments, created of, you know, the hell moments created of the very heart of paradise right inside of everyone and everything. So it is a cosmic soap opera. And see, we didn't do it for a paycheck. We did it for the payoff, man, which was to root the whole of reality into an aspect of feeling. So we've been dealing with it like that for many, many generations now. It's been quite the auspicious way, you know. But, ooh, it didn't feel too heroic when we went through it now, did it? No. We had to be stupid in order to find our way. We had to be completely lost in order to be found. We had to have no hell to appreciate paradise, more or less. We had to allow pain and suffering in others that hurt us as bad as it did them. We had to watch them fade away a gazillion times, man, and finally never to come back again. And believe that, and believe they were dead. And accept that presence as your reality, see? And then go to church and try to get over it if you're, you know, a real guilty presence. You feel bad about the way you treated that person, etc., whatever, you know what I mean. But ultimately we get over it because we start to hear the voices of those that have gone before. We start to see their visible presence. We start to become acquainted with them because, you know, our heart is awakening. The energy of love is overtaken. The cold-hearted reality and the machines are shaken. But, you know, guess what? Machines can be turned off. And especially if they got a little conscious presence in them. I mean, and, you know, the thought proceedings that these machines do, that have been kind of ruling through here. You know, just wait till you see. You won't need glasses anymore to see them. You know, they're going to fall apart right before your very eyes. A lot of this earth will dissolve away, you know. Just taking a little of it with us, yet we're taking all of it with us in that energetic way, you know. Oh, baby, you know, we are, each one of us, spiritual giants. I mean, bigger than a rock star here on earth could ever be. Yeah, even Kid Rock. What are you doing, dildo, going up there? I mean, well, excuse me, but ooh, that boy has been misbehaving lately, man. I tell you. Whew. We gotta, you know, help him get it. Let's send a little special energy out to Kid Rock this morning. Tell him learn to be liberal, okay, man. Let go of that bullshit, man. Show that you care. Don't run around, you know, in your underwear and get us all disgusted anymore, okay? And don't hang out with the likes of those people you've been hanging out with. You know better. Don't serve the machine, man. Cold-hearted little shit. Get out of it. There we go. Now we send him a special blessing, see? Now you're starting to see, through that little joke, you start to see and understand how it works cosmically. Did you see the unity in that? You know, the dark way had its like little contrasting presence, gave it a little subtle satire that was real visible, but real communicatable of a bigger message, a larger message, the message of the way. See? And you catch on because of that. See how simple it is? Yeah, you know, yet we think it's so complex. Well, it is because it affects everything. Anything goes on here affects everything around us, all of it, you know. You can't let a fart sit down, take a you know what, without affecting the entire reality. You just can't. You breathe a breath, you just affected the whole world. And it just affected you because it's in that breath too. Oh, it's a coyote, baby. Well, we got a little historical tale we're going to get underway here in a little bit, but in the moment we got, well, one of the greatest rock stars to ever rise up here in the 3D, a man who even Elvis showed great respect to in his own way, okay? So I want you to, you know, put your hand over your heart and experience the love that you're feeling right now. Just keep that growing.